the details matter more than the fake narrative. In most of the places that President Trump campaigned, the person he campaigned for won. The Democrats somehow are still saying they're going to sweep the House, they're going to sweep the Senate. I think that those are the same people that were saying that they were going to trounce Donald Trump in 2016. That and a lot more on today's program. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Before we talk about President Trump and this election cycle and the hatred for President Trump, let's return for a moment to Alex Jones and what he means for conservatives, right-wingers, people like Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, yours truly with my small television show. For point of clarity, in legal terms, free speech is not what is at issue here. Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, they are not legally obligated to allow Alex Jones to speak his message there. They're not legally obligated. No one can come to this program, no one can come to this network and say, we demand that you air this message. So on a strictly legal discussion, this is not technically about free speech as guaranteed in the Constitution, all right? So let's set that aside. Now that is lost on a lot of people. So the big hubbub, the editorials, the discussions, the debates are in fact about free speech. Alex Jones is being censored because of his content. That's everyone agrees, including the people who are shutting him down. The issue is this, that truth matters, justice matters, righteousness matters. So whether it's in a private business, such as YouTube, or whether it's in a public format, such as a sidewalk, go back 50 years. If someone had said, no, wait, let's use a really outrageous illustration for today. If somebody today stood up and said, all black people on a street corner, all black people should be put back in slavery. Senator Smith wants to, or candidate Smith wants to reintroduce American slavery. And let's say that someone stands up and says, we need to revive the Holocaust ovens and begin to kill Jews. We need to restore the power of the Ku Klux Klan and begin to have lynch mobs again. The moment that somebody starts to say, we should target these people for death, they are crossing a line depending upon intent and directives, but they're crossing a line into criminal activity. That's why the blind sheik in New York was ultimately tried and found guilty, because he was saying words that inspired and instigated and gave the framework for the original 1993 bombing of the Twin Towers. So if someone says in a group of people, we should go out and start killing black people, and we should go out and start killing Jews, we should go out and start killing Italians, we should go out and start killing Koreans, we should go start killing white people. If those words are spoken and someone acts directly on those words, there can be criminal culpability for the people, for the person making the speech, all right? We're in a place today in America where someone can stand up and make an advertisement. Planned Parenthood can make an advertisement to have somebody come and murder their baby. So abortion is murder, make no mistake about it. It is a crime against God. It is the shedding of innocent blood. It is a violation of the 6th commandment, thou shalt not murder, or the 5th commandment if you're using the Catholic ordering. Abortion is murder. And when Planned Parenthood stands up and has an ad inviting people to come and kill their baby, the words that they're speaking today are protected and applauded by YouTube and Google and Facebook. But those very words 50 or 70 years ago would have landed people in jail. If someone said, come to my office and I will terminate your pregnancy, pay me $200 or $500, whatever it is, and I will terminate your pregnancy. If a person made that offer, they would go to prison. So the words matter. Truth matters. And what we're facing today, and I apologize if this seems convoluted, but what we're facing today is a debate over content, and the people who are driving the debate about content are primarily people who hate God, people who hate his laws. So they hate Donald Trump, they hate the pro-life movement, they hate the biblical definition of marriage, they hate the efforts to stop the murder of babies by abortion. They hate us, they hate what we stand for. And if they could suppress all of our speech, if they could shut down all of our platforms, they would. If they could make it a criminal act to say that abortion is murder, homosexual activity is an abomination, Islam is a threat to the human race, if they could make those phrases a criminal act under the idea of hate speech, many of them would do it. So while the debate about free speech and Alex Jones is somewhat misguided because those are private companies, the heart and soul of the debate as to whether or not people should have their speech suppressed, that is a valid debate to be discussing. And many of us, a handful of us, have been saying since the late 80s that with the trajectory that we're on, that with evil being called good and good being called evil, that we will get to the place where people are prosecuted or they are sued in civil court for proclaiming the word of God and obeying it. And oh, look, it's been happening with people who refuse to make wedding cakes for homosexual marriages. Alex Jones says some things that seem out there to me, things that I've heard him say that I don't agree with. For me, that's only a part of the issue. The issue is that he's right on a lot of things. And as an American, this experiment in self-government hovers around, is rooted in the First Amendment. And there are people out there who are committed to thrashing to death the First Amendment if only they can get rid of the public discourse that they hate. And ultimately, that will involve the suppression of people who believe in things like absolute truth. Because some of us will never yield. Child killing is murder. Abortion is murder. People who commit murder should face criminal punishment. Abortionists, the moms, ultimately, when child killing is made illegal again, if a woman goes to pay to have her baby killed, she has to face some penalty if she's caught. There are people out there who want to end people like me saying that publicly on a public platform. And some of them will stop at very little. They don't care about the First Amendment. They don't. They don't. They want to do what they want to do because their deeds are evil. I'll talk more about that when we come back. Please don't go away. Warrior guitars. Without question, the best guitar I've ever played, heard, or seen is a Warrior. The owner of Warrior, Jay Dran, has an incredible testimony of redemption and healing. God gave him the vision to start Warrior Guitars and a passion to make the best guitars in the world. They only make about 120 guitars a year, each one by hand. Maybe one of them could be yours, or a once-in-a-lifetime gift for someone you love.
The one thing that I can tell you is this is the most finely crafted guitar I have ever held. I've played a lot of guitars, I own a lot of guitars, and although the quality is exceptional on all of them, this is by far the most finely crafted instrument I own or have ever played. And I'm glad I own it.
Contact my friends at Warrior Guitar. Tell them Randall Terry sent you. Welcome back, friend. Jesus said in John chapter 3, he said, everyone who loves the light comes to the light so that their deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. But he said that those who do evil, they hate the light, and they don't come to the light lest their deeds should be exposed. Now, light in the scriptures can mean the word of God. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, a light to my path. Light can mean truth. God is light. So there are people who are practicing evil deeds, and they don't want to come into the light. They don't want to discuss those deeds. They don't want those deeds condemned because their deeds are evil. Paul in Romans chapter 1 talked about reveling in certain things that he said those who do them should, or they know that they're worthy of death, but they keep doing them and they encourage other people to do the same. So there are people who, like in the Scrooge movie, they want to put out the light. They want to just shut it down so that it doesn't expose evil deeds. If you can suppress the notion that something is inherently evil, then, and it becomes a good, a positive good, it becomes a right, like killing someone's baby is a right, and having so-called homosexual marriage is a right. If you can suppress truth to the point where that which is evil becomes good, and that which is good is called evil, where light is put for darkness, darkness put for light, bitter put for sweet, and sweet put for bitter. At that point, the people who are promoting evil are not going to be content to just have the languages reversed. They're going to want to suppress the language that condemns them. They're going to want to fight against us so that holding these positions publicly, ordering our lives, becomes a crime. So if you were in a public school today and you talked to 5th graders or 7th graders and you told those children that homosexual behavior is a disordered lifestyle, let's use a clinical term, okay, that it's a disordered lifestyle, what do you think would happen to that teacher in the light of the Obergefell decision? That teacher is probably going to lose their job. So that's the place that we're at, that there are real life, real-time consequences for publicly speaking the truth. Now, the reason that the Alex Jones controversy is so important is it's the perfect foil for the other side. They can't take out Donald Trump. As much as they hate Trump, they can't take him out. But if they go after somebody like Jones, Alex Jones, there are people on the right, there are conservatives, there are Christians who are squeamish about defending him because they hear some of the things he says, or they hear the way he says some of the things he says, and they get, I don't agree with that. I mean, I feel they get squeamish because they don't want to associate themselves with somebody who has said or done something that they think is a little controversial. A friend is someone who walks into the room when the rest of the world is leaving. A friend is someone who walks into the room when the rest of the world is leaving. And so Alex Jones needs friends right now, not just for himself, but because if they can pick him off, I promise you their real goals are Sean Hannity, Michael Savage, Mark Levin, and Rush Limbaugh. They want those voices silenced. They want them crippled. And picking off Alex Jones is just the beginning. There are people sitting around right now brainstorming ways that they can cripple Sean Hannity's program and get him off the air. Rush right now would be a much harder target, but he's had significant financial impact over the years as boycotts against orange juice growers or different companies have worked. Rush was going to look like he was in line to be a part owner of one of the NFL teams, and hubbub shut that down. So Rush has taken hits as a result of his positions, but ultimately they're not just trying to wound him here and there. They want him and Sean, they want guys like me, I'm a pea shooter compared to them, but they want us silenced because they hate the truth. They hate the notion of moral absolutes. And they're so perverse in their thinking that they have that woman, that I believe she's Korean, that Korean female writer who has been spewing hatred about white people in her tweets. I don't know if you followed this, but what she's saying is vile. She's really a vile, hateful person, a despicable person. But because she's a girl, a female, and because she's Korean, I believe she's Korean, she's able to say things that if any white male said about female Koreans, what she is saying about white males, that white male's life would be over as he knew it. That's the level of hypocrisy that we're dealing with. That's the level of malice, sheer malice, that they're willing to defend somebody who is a despicable human being. This woman is a despicable human being. But they hate Christ and his church so much that they would rather defend a despicable human being than to say to her, why did you say that? That's uncalled for, that's unprofessional, that's hateful. So it's not just a double standard. It's a commitment to the destruction of truth to such a degree that they will defend a villain. I have to take a break. I'm way over my time. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Muhammad. We are going to look at Muhammad's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Muhammad at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Muhammad's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Muhammad and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. Oh, friends, when I read the scriptures, especially passages like the book of Judges and the book of Jeremiah, the book of Ezekiel, the book of 1st and 2nd Samuel, especially 1st and 2nd Kings, you see this up and down, up and down. And a lot of times when evil flourishes, the righteous tend to become afraid. Those who are not participating in the crimes tend to become afraid and tend to hold their tongue. And so we go from a place where the majority is saying it's horrible, the idea of homosexual marriage is absurd, where it wouldn't even be discussed in polite company, and anyone who tried to would be banished and shunned. We go from that, and that position, by the way, that homosexual marriage is an abomination, that's the truth, all right? We've gone from that to where to publicly decry this horrifying treachery against marriage. People are afraid. So they're not saying anything. They're saying things like, well, live and let live, or, we have to show mercy to them. Or we have to reach out to people who we don't agree with. They're trying to spiritualize their fear, their cowardice, their silence. So we have these passages in the scriptures. We look at these stories, and when things get really bad and everyone's looking around, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. Then all of a sudden God says, I've got to tap one or two lunatics. We'll call them prophets. Lord, please forgive me, they're not lunatics. I have to tap these people, and I'm going to give them my words to speak. And then they go and they herald these words. Sometimes speech is given from God to people, through people, to others, to bring about conviction and conversion. So we can see examples in the scriptures where men came and they spoke like Jonah. Jonah spoke and all of Nineveh converted. So there's real fruit that is born. Most of us came to Christ at some level because of people using words. And that's why the Bible says, how blessed are those whose feet are shed with the gospel of peace, preparation of the gospel of peace. How blessed are those who bring good news, who herald good news. Words are involved for our conversion. But there are times, like say, for example, with the life of Jeremiah, where the truth, God is sending Jeremiah to speak the truth, and the people's hearts are getting harder and harder and harder and harder. And if you read the book of Jeremiah, you see that he preached for nearly 30 years. At one passage, he says, I have been preaching here for 27 years. He took his place in the front of the temple and said, woe to you who come here and say, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord. You've made it a den of thieves. Shall you commit adultery and abominations and come to my temple and say, we are safe to commit all these abominable deeds? And then God says, because you've done this, I'm going to bring judgment. And then Jeremiah prophesied against the priests, and he prophesied against the Levites, and at times he prophesied against the kings. So he became a really unwelcome figure, a very lonely figure. At times, he was angry at God because of what he suffered. So in those moments, the record of what Jeremiah was saying was in part for the day of judgment. It was in part that the scriptures could be written. But those words, the book of Ezekiel, God says, say what I'm telling you to say. Whether they listen or don't listen, they will know that a prophet was among them. They're going to remember. And the words of Jeremiah to those people were used as a testimony against them on the day of judgment when God sent them to hell, those he did send to hell. Same with Ezekiel. So there are times when God calls us to speak things that will bring about conversion in the here and now. And then there are times where it's not going to change anyone because their hearts are like stone. But God still wants the truth spoken to them as a witness against them for the day of judgment. I've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to play the front end of our upcoming movie. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700 or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Friend, we have a series that will help you and those you love to have an impact on this country. It's called Insurrecta Nex. That's Latin for revolution against the killing of innocent people. This is the history, the philosophy, and the theology of social revolution in America. We look at the Stamp Act, the Boston Tea Party, the abolition of slavery, the abolition of child labor, women's voting rights, the civil rights movement. All of them have this in common: courage, sacrifice, dedication, and in-your-face tactics and rhetoric. That's one of the reasons that we've been losing the culture wars the last 40 years, is because the bad guys are using these tactics and we aren't. We will send you this 14-part TV series along with these manuals for students, a teacher's facilitator guide for only $40. Go to 304-289-3700, 304-289-3700. Friend, I want you to watch the opening minute and 20 seconds of our upcoming movie, Muhammad in His Own Words, and then go to randallterry.com and order your own DVD because they come off the presses today. God bless you.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
Americans have been assured that Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was a man of peace, and that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. To know the truth in the matter, we only need to focus on Muhammad in his own words.